So one of the things I do is that I like to play video games. And in this case, I had been playing in the Call of Duty Black Ops 6 beta. So if you're not familiar with how some video games work, if you're in a multiplayer game, there are times where you are matchmaking with other people. So our team was sitting there waiting to matchmake. And we were getting matches pretty quick towards the end of the beta. So a lot of these images were done in a short amount of time. But depending on the game, I will sometimes have a minute or two or three in order to just work in my sketchbook because I don't do well just sitting idly. I always have to be fidgeting or doing something. So I challenged myself to do quick sketches in this case. And so during each matchmaking, I did a flower, this flower, this flower, this flower. I did this image, which if you are familiar with the single line drawing that I do, this was along the lines of that, where I was just kind of loosely drawing using one of these pencils. It doesn't look a lot like the original image at all, which is what I like. I have my phone out sometimes and I'll have a reference image down. The only thing that happens with the single line drawings like this, if I'm doing it during a game matchmaking, is that sometimes I break the rule with the single line drawing. I have to put my pencil down because we got in a match. So this one was done over 2 matchmaking sessions. And then I just did a couple more flowers. Some of them turn out well, some of them don't. It's okay. It's just like quick practice. This is one that I did that I really, really like. And I think I'm actually going to use that as my warm up today. So the other thing that I like to do is after I have a bunch of these sketches, before I start work on a more involved project in the studio, I will do a quick warm-up project. And that's a lot of what I've recently been sharing with on the channel. So this is just another quick warm-up project to get me started with my art for the day. Let's get to it. I'm really finding it helpful to start with a preset color palette when I do my warm-ups. And to keep it simple today, I opted to just choose colors inspired by the Call of Duty Black Ops 6 beta. So you're seeing oranges, blacks, greens, and later on in the video, you'll see that I add in a little bit of gray. The image on the left is a screenshot of my view while I was sketching from the Call of Duty Black Ops 6 beta. It's while we're in the lobby. I did cut off the other players' names in order to keep their privacy intact. Whether it's the warm-up practice or the sketches that I am making while I'm waiting in the lobby of a video game, my goal is to do something quick and loose. I find that if I work really tight or precise, I end up stressing myself out and I don't really grow as far as how I'm using color or how I'm placing paint or oil pastel or whatever it is I'm using, whatever medium. I'm not working with it as proficiently as I could because I'm so focused on how precise the design is supposed to be. I work with materials that are non-toxic because, as you can see, my cat is around. I have 5 cats and there's always one with me on my desk, even when I'm playing video games. So when I'm working with art supplies, I try to use things that are non-toxic, that don't have fumes, because I don't want to hurt them. And also because I have a tendency of touching everything that I work with. I am very childlike in my art play. So non-toxic items are definitely a must for me. When I am creating these warm-up drawings, I am using the reference as a guide to where the values are going to go, but I'm also just kind of placing things where I want hints of the light to be. I like that I have a little more creative leeway to play with the values when I am working this way. I wouldn't consider all of my work to be good, and that's okay, especially the work done in my sketchbook. This is really just warm-up play. It's designed to get me loose and just thinking about how I want to work the rest of the day. And oftentimes I make mistakes. You'll see several parts here where I accidentally muddy up parts of the drawing with dirty fingers. Stuff happens. And I try to get all of those little glitches out now during the warm-up. That doesn't always happen because I'm not the most graceful person in the world, but it's okay. It's art, it's messy, it's fun, and again, that's part of the childlike play here. What I can do from the warm-up exercises is I can take parts of it and say, these are the parts that I liked. This is the part that I didn't like. And some of that is related to the way I use color, and some of that is the way that I use my materials and the technique. In this case, I really loved how drawing loosely with the pencil, you'll notice that I'm gripping it towards the end. That sort of drawing produced interesting characteristics for this lady. I love how her nose is just a little bit crooked. I think it adds to her character. I think that playing and warming up in a sketchbook is a very important part of your art practice, and that's something I'm going to encourage you to do now. Try some single line drawings, try experimenting with new palettes, just play, and in a short amount of time or a few months from now, you'll see the results in your sketchbook as you grow as an artist. And here is a final look at today's sketchbook warm-up drawing. I am not 100% happy with everything. I'm not loving her hair completely, but I do like how loose the drawing was. I did find it very easy to use the color palette inspired by the Call of Duty Black Ops beta, and that is proof that you can find inspiration anywhere. So if you see an image somewhere, an advertisement, a piece of product packaging, some picture that you find on the internet, whatever it is that sparks your imagination, take a quick snapshot of it with your phone and use that to inspire your next color palette or the next texture that you add to your piece, whatever it might be. Just keep sources of inspiration around you and look for inspiration in everything that you see. And I hope from seeing what I did here today that you're going to be inspired to go and work in your sketchbook, even if it's just some quick line drawings that you do today, similar to what I did in my sketchbook while I was waiting for the Call of Duty matchmaking to complete.